All right, well, we are out in the shop today on this fine Florida day, working on the Turbo LS street truck build. So we're cruising right along on this thing, and today we're going to be continuing on the exhaust build saga. It has become a bit of a saga. It's a little overcomplicated and elaborate, and we're getting to the most elaborate part. But what we have so far is basically a cast iron manifold feeding our turbo manifold over here. So we built the crossover for that. We built the tube going to basically mount our wastegate and our wastegate dump tube. We did a fully pie cut down pipe, and the reason for that was A, it's over elaborate and over complicated and fun, but B, it allows us to get really good clearance everywhere. We can snake down here, snake around the wastegate, stay away from all the AC stuff. So that comes down, continues on, makes this 90 over the frame rail. As you can see, very, very tight tolerances for 4-inch to snake that through. We've got our wastegate dump tube that kind of comes down, follows the down pipe, and then shoots down at the ground. And let's lift this thing up. I'll show you what we have underneath, and then we'll get into what we're planning and start doing it. This should be the end of the saga, and again, the most fun part. So I'm pretty excited. I got to smile because I live for this stuff. This is what keeps me going and gives me motivation to build stuff. Is just this aspect of it is the most fun for me. So I'm gonna quit jibber jabber and lift it up, show you where we're at. All right, so after it snakes over the frame rail there, it then comes down here. We've got a V-band, so we can pull the down pipe out individually, and then starts our new section. So you got another little pie cut deal here to boom, kick it over the trans mount, and then this is where we're at. And where we need to go is out somewhere around here in front of the tires, either close to the cab or back by the tire. I'm not 100% sure yet. Ideally, we'll shoot between this shackle and where the frame rail angles up here. This is kind of what I'm aiming for. Now, naturally, we could just run 4-inch out. We could also run 3.5-inch, but I'm out of 4-inch. I don't have any 3.5-inch. So I came up with an alternative. I have a ton of 3-inch. I have tons of scraps. I buy a bunch of it whenever I'm doing an exhaust. It's because, you can never have too much. And I have plenty of 3-inch to work with. So what we did, we got a 4 to 3-inch reducer. So it'll go 4-inch down to 3-inch with a V-band. So that section will be disconnectable. This will be its own piece. And then we built this simple little merge to dual 3-inch. So it allows us to have enough exhaust diameter, but while using what we have and not having to wait and order stuff. It's always a juggling act, So that is where we're at. 3-inch merge. So I want to go ahead and make some pie cuts. We're going to need some 3-inch pie cuts to get this back to dual. It's going to be pretty elaborate little merge here to try to straighten it back out because I like the two pipes to be pretty close together. So let's put some ear protection in and start making some pie with our little scrap straight pieces. All right, I don't know how applicable this is going to be to any of you, but when I'm making pie cuts, I basically have a mark on the clamp here. So that's center of 3-inch, that's center of 4-inch. And I do a center line down both sides of the pipe. So that way I cut one angle and I flip it exactly 180 and cut it the other way. Because otherwise you're going to end up with some wonkiness if you cut it this way and then like 90 degrees out. So anyway, just mark the center line basically on both sides. All right, now we've got this section completely complete. Got our reducer down to 3-inch, our V-band. It's a nice little short section. So now we can start working on this part. This we can start building on the bench with our pie cuts because there's a good amount of room in there. We've got a V-band here. So really all the complication is gonna be in the first couple feet. So I'm gonna try to tape up a combination of pie cuts here, see what I like, see what looks good, see what looks like it's gonna do what we need it to do, and then we'll just test fit it up in the truck instead of having to tape them all in the truck. So it should be a little easier doing it this way. Grab all the pie cuts. All right, this is our collector. We're a little off, you know, just the pie cuts aren't all exactly the same. So like using a combination, we got about an 1/8 inch difference up here, but pretty close. Should be good enough. Let's test fit it up there and see how it looks. All right, well, I think that's gonna work. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and weld this out just because it's gonna be a lot harder to get to these inside welds once the last two pieces are on. So I'll put those on and weld them individually. All right, I normally don't do this. I normally don't tack or weld something without it most of the way together, but looking at it, I knew it was gonna be a lot easier to get to these inside welds if we didn't have the last two pieces on there. These are gonna make it way more complicated. So now we'll tack and weld these pieces on, and then we can get it in the truck and start building out the rest of it. Thing fire back up, get back to it. Dude, I just filled this bottle up before we started on the downpipe. So that gives you an idea of how much welding we've done. The bottle is about 35% full now. There's a lot of argon, and I don't even run crazy high flow because actually I think this is a common misconception. I know I'm getting off track, but when you see a lot of color in a weld, that actually means it doesn't have enough gas coverage. Now you can get down to the low coverage or heat like this where it turns gray. But if you don't have quite enough gas coverage is when you get colors. To get no color at all is where you need just a metric ton of gas coverage. So it's kind of funny. It's like if you really run the right amount of gas coverage, you don't get any color, which most of us like the color, even though it's kind of silly. Color is kind of what makes it. So I'm jibber jabbering. I said I'd stop. I'm gonna weld. Enough jibber jabber. Back to welding. There's got to be a way to make that run. Think on it. Let me know. All right, got this thing all welded up. Let's toss it back in the truck, see how it looks. And then start building from our dual 3-inch. This last part's gonna get pretty fun. A little tricky, but a little fun. We got some things to figure out that I'm not sure on, but we'll get there. We'll get there. All right, well, it's coming right along. Looks pretty snazzy, does the job, fits up there nice and tight. We got about a 1/2 inch of clearance to the body of the truck. Obviously this hanger is kind of in the way. Figure something out for this. But yeah, we're gonna need to come down some, shoot straight, duck over. I thought about poking through the bed here, but I feel like that's a little excessive. In case I don't like the way this sounds or I wanna change it, we're kind of stuck with holes in the bed. So I'm gonna stick with my original plan, and if we like slam this thing to where height's a problem, or we want the aesthetic of it going through the bed, we can easily change this part. So, okay, I'm gonna quit jibber jabbering. I'm gonna get back to work. Let's see what we can make happen here. Ooh, almost nailed it. That's honestly it. We could take a 1/2 inch off. The idea here is the second pipe's gonna come down at less of an angle, which will make it go further. All right, that one's good. All right, we got it. Kind of tricky to hold them both in position, but pretty even height-wise. We're gonna have to duck this one down a little bit and then angle it up, probably with a pie cut, and then we should be able to get it to match pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and mark where this needs to get tacked, and tack the pie cuts and this. And then we'll test fit the other one with this one tacked so it's in position. Tack that one. That's how we're gonna do this. Check it out. This is what we got so far. It's pretty close. They're obviously at slightly different heights because I'm trying to keep them tucked up to the frame rail. So we'll have to jog this one up a little bit, straighten it out, jog that one past, up, boom, and then we'll come to our tips. The tip's gonna be the fun part. The tip's where we're gonna get a little creative, but it's coming together nicely. It might sound really different and cool. It might sound like crap. Don't really know, but this is how we're doing it. So time to go from here to our tips. This is about what it's gonna look like. I can't decide if I'd rather have two exaggerated ones or not. We're gonna try it this way to keep them close together, because otherwise we'd have to space them out like that much. Oh man, I don't know. Every time I look at it, I change my mind. We're gonna go with this. Alright, so I'm cutting a slight angle in this to try to get it to straighten out into the bed. I just got a new cold cut saw blade. These things are expensive. The stainless blade's like 120 bucks. But dude, I've been struggling with a dull blade for a while. It cuts so easy. Let's try this. Alright, that should work for that one. I'm gonna go a little more aggressive on this one. Oh, this one's about to fall. Well, we know we've got these pipes lined up, so I'm gonna go ahead and weld this one out. We'll tack this one on and weld it out, and then we'll weld the last one on. All right, well, the welds came out pretty solid. Honestly, I need a steadier hand to really get any better at TIG welding. When I'm trying to do a super long run and like rotate the torch in my hand starts getting a little jittery. But overall, not bad at all. This is officially done. Fully welded, let it cool down for a minute. We'll toss it back in, see how it looks, but I'm digging it. We didn't get these two perfect, just the way this all had to pan out. Really could have used like half a pie cut extra for here, but it was just kind of tricky to duck under the frame rail where they needed to. But overall, I'm really happy with how this deal came out. I think it looks good. So yeah, let's see what it looks like in the truck. All right, we're gonna go start to finish. So comes off the turbo, snakes around the wastegate, snakes down here, squeezes right through there, very tight fit for 4-inch. Comes over here, swoops down, up over the trans mount. Next down to 3-inch just for a second, back up to dual 3-inch, 290s out, boom to the tips. I'm happy with it. I like it. I'm gonna lower it down and see what it looks like with it on the ground. Still gotta build a hanger, at least one. Probably go to this factory hanger spot here. And then we really probably need to put a flex joint in somewhere. Maybe just throw one in right here. But we'll see. We'll get there when we get there. So a little overview. So satisfying. Absolutely my favorite part of building cars, trucks, whatever, is the fab work. It's just so rewarding to have an idea and execute and cross through the challenges, figure it out, and make it work. Okay, let's drop it down. All right, check it out. I like it. Looks pretty much exactly how I intended it to look. It's noticeable, stands out a little bit, but it's discreet. It's not a freaking hood dump or something like that. It shouldn't be too loud. We don't have a muffler, but the turbo acts as a muffler. I have a feeling this truck will still be pretty quiet, but hopefully loud enough to make it kind of exciting. Can you imagine dual flames popping out of here? Be pretty cool. So overall, I'm happy with it. It would have kind of been nice to bring this one up a little bit, but the idea was to kind of keep the furthest part the same. So I don't know, that could go either way. It's one of those things, you have to try it both ways to really be able to tell, but overall, I'm happy with it. I might shave this down some, give it a little more of an angle. It almost looks like it's angled this way, but it's not. It's just that this one's so elaborate. So just kind of shave that down some on the belt grinder. I don't know. We'll see. We'll mess with it. But really all that's left is to build a hanger. Ideally, like I said, we need to put a flex joint in, but pretty much the exhaust is complete. We'll tidy it up here in a minute, but overall, I'm super happy with it. It was a very challenging project, trying to get 4-inch down through there and, keep it big enough so if we do up the power later on, we have enough flow for that. And with that pretty much wrapped up, really all that we have left, we need to pull the trans out to get it rebuilt, throw the fuel pump in, wiring, and some plumbing. So we are super, super close. The wiring should be pretty easy. It just depends on how involved I go with back integrating to the stock ECU. Since we're gonna be using the Holley terminator, that's cake. I'll wire that up in an afternoon. But the other stuff, the back integration to the stock computer, you know, that'll be a little more tedious. So we'll see how that goes. Shouldn't be too much work, but we're coming close to burnouts. That exhaust was definitely a bear of a project, but it's always so worth it. To me, at least, I had a blast doing it. It's so rewarding to get to the end product. So I'm really, really happy with how that came out. So need to get the trans out of this thing, because like I said, that is next. That's the one holdup. We have all the other parts. I'm sure there's a part we're missing here or there, little guys, but that's the last big thing, is a trans. This trans is not good. We have the converter, we just need to get the trans rebuilt. I wanna get this out, I wanna get it sent off, because we are coming up on the time where we're gonna have to tear down the shop, like soon, like next week. So we're not gonna have a lift to work on, and it'd be much easier to pull the trans now and get it sent off. So that's what we're gonna work on now. We're gonna pull the exhaust, pull the trans, yeah, that should be it. It should come out pretty quick. It's not really in there. The converter bolts aren't in. The flex plate's not even on the motor. Gotta kind of go that way and then that way. Just gets caught. There's like a stud for that heat shield. All right, trans is out on the dolly here. So I got to take this to a place. Just got to remember what the place was. There's a place not too far from here, like an hour away, that does specifically like GM trans rebuilds or something. I asked on Instagram and I lost. I got to go back and look. Moral of the story is we're going to take that thing to get rebuilt. Kind of cool to see the exhaust all taken apart. It always looks so cool out of the vehicle, and then this is the nicest it's gonna look once it gets hot and water splashes on it and oil and grime. It's not gonna look this nice anymore, but it is cool to see it out here. Shiny, fresh welds. So rewarding, man. I love this stuff. I love it. So anyway, we'll just toss this in the bed of the truck for now, and we're gonna be doing a lot of moving and we got a lot of work ahead of us to get this place ready to be torn down. So it's finally happening, though. It seems. I'm still nervous that I'm gonna tear it down and they're gonna tell me it gets delayed, but supposedly we're all on schedule for the middle of next month. So we need to start getting it torn down now in case there's any complications and get the garage set up. We got a lot of work to do, and I hope to see you guys for that as well. But for now, that's a wrap. That's it. We'll probably be back on the truck sometime soon. I don't know. Probably it's in the garage. We'll do the wiring and stuff. We'll be working on it again soon, but for now we gotta do some moving, some cleaning, some tearing down, shop stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Goodbye.